As the first round of the fantasy baseball playoffs is coming to a close, I got 5 bats and 5 arms that are going to put you over the top in your matchup this week to help you win, including Shane Baz, Romy Gonzalez, Trent Grisham, and more on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominick Martino, riding solo today, as you can see if you're watching on YouTube. And if you are watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little bell below. It's going to subscribe you to the channel and give you notification every time we drop a new episode. Or if you're listening on the audio side of things, once again, please make sure you're subscribed. And if you're listening on a platform like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly appreciate it if you could do that for us as well. And what's going to help you win your fantasy baseball league is joining Matt and I on the Insider's Track. Listen, we offer so much more than we can in these 30-minute episodes there, so give us a chance. Link is in the bio wherever you're listening, watching, and it's available on any of our social media platforms. And this episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the USA. Visit 5-e-h-win.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament, and it ends October 31st, 2025. And all right, guys, let's get into it. It's getting real tough, man. It's getting real tough. You might be down to, the wire here in your, first round of your fantasy baseball playoffs. You might have had a bye this week, or you might be heading into your fantasy baseball playoffs next week. No matter what situation you're in, I got you covered today, because these are names that you're going to want to add to your team, whether it's for the short term, the next week, whatever little time left is in the fantasy baseball season. I got some great names for you. So we're going to start with pitching, and we're actually going to start with somebody that I touched on a little bit at the end of my last solo episode. I believe it was earlier in the week on Sunday or Monday. It was Ian Seymour, starting pitcher for the Tampa Bay Rays. He's been really good since heading into the rotation. Has made 2 solid starts in his last 2 outings. On August 21st, it was against Cleveland. Went 5 innings, got the win, 8 strikeouts, no earned runs, 0.4 whip. Went out in his last one on August 31st. That was against Washington. 5 innings, got the win. Another 8 strikeout effort, 1 earned run, a clean 1 whip. And guess who he gets in his next outing? It is Tampa Bay again. Not Tampa Bay. He pitches for Tampa Bay. That's my fault. He's going to get Cleveland again, which, he had, as I mentioned, on August 25th, had a great outing against them. Could get another, great outing here. The strikeouts have been up for a guy like Ian Seymour. And you know what? A lot of the underlying stuff looks pretty good. The ERA is believable, but the batting average, he's getting a lot of whiffs, he's getting a lot of strikeouts. He's not getting hit very hard. So you really like the results here for Ian Seymour. He leads with that changeup, which is a little bit unorthodox, but gets really good results with it. 161 batting average against it. Has that fastball, only sits at about 93, 92 on the fastball on average. But listen, he's getting good results with it so far. Only a 212 batting average against that. Has a cutter and a sweeper as well that he mixes in, and a sinker too. Has even thrown a changeup, a couple changeups since, getting to the bigs. So, Ian Seymour has kind of a little bit of a kitchen sink mix to him. Love it. He's 6 foot, 215, 26 years old. He's a lefty. And Tampa's pretty good at developing young talent, or at least finding it, right? So I trust what Tampa's doing here. He's in the rotation now to finish the year. And, Seymour's only 30% rostered on Yahoo. I'd go out there and add him for this matchup. It's coming up on Friday because I think that's going to be a nice little lucrative start for us. And let's see who he gets after that. Oh, dudes. It's the White Sox. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The White Sox. And then maybe the Cubs or Toronto. So at least the next 2 starts here for Ian Seymour are looking pretty nice. I'll be honest with you guys. He's going to be a little sneaky ad for me after the episode in a couple of leagues. Just got to make the room for him. So I practice what I preach. I already had Ian Seymour in a league, but you know what? The other spots where he's available, I think I'm going to add him as well. So, you guys know I practice what I preach here. So Ian Seymour, Tampa Bay Rays starting pitcher, 30% owned on Yahoo. Nice next 2 matchups, but after that, it might be tough, to trust him against the Cubs or Toronto, who are both pretty good teams in their own rights. Even though, well, Toronto's been 5-5 in their last 10, and then the Cubs are 6-4 in their last 10. So yeah, like I said, both pretty good teams, and they're both doing very well. Toronto in first place in their division, and the Cubs trail Milwaukee by about 5 games. So they're but they both have very good records on the year. So let's keep things pushing though. Let's do our next starting pitcher. Let's talk about the Yeti, man. I think this is one of the first times we really get to say something positive as far as results for oh wow. Actually, guys, I am so sorry. I will say this. I am here recording at 8:39 Eastern time here in New York. And an update came in at 7:56. Arrigetti's hitting the IL. I was very excited to talk about him. He had a nice tentative start coming up against the Texas Rangers on Friday, but that is no longer relevant. So you know what, guys? Sometimes we catch things in the moment. So let's keep going. Let's go with the next guy. Let's talk about Jose Soriano of the Angels, right? Jose Soriano has been on and off waiver wires all year, right? We've been picking up to use him, when he's going good, and then we drop him, when he's not doing his thing. But 3 of his last 4 starts have been really good for Jose Soriano. On August 11th against the Dodgers, 6 strong innings with a win, 6 strikeouts, no earned runs, 0.67 whip. Had a clunker against the Athletics on the 17th. But August 25th at the Texas Rangers, 5.2 innings, win, 6 strikeouts, no earned runs, 0.88 whip. And then his last outing was really, really good for Jose Soriano at the Houston Astros, 7 innings, a win, 8 strikeouts, no earned runs, 0.57 whip. His next start does come against the Athletics on Friday. It's a risky matchup, right? Because he can go out there, get you a bunch of strikeouts, and do his thing, but he might get rocked as well. It kind of depends where you're at going into the weekend, right? If you're in a spot where you can afford, a 4 earned run outing, you can go for it. I'm not risking it everywhere. Soriano's 42% owned on Yahoo. Like I said, it's kind of going to be a situational thing with Soriano. 3.68 ERA, 1.33 whip on the year, 161 innings, 144 strikeouts. But don't get me wrong, Soriano can go out there and get like that nice little 8 strikeout, 7 strikeout outing any given night. He has 10 wins and 28 starts on the year. But then again, those Angels, haven't been that good this year, so I'm not expecting a win either. Even though he's won 3 out of his last 4 starts. Has been giving you length. So that's even why I'm just recommending him to begin with. So take it with a little bit of a grain of salt when it comes to Jose Soriano this Friday, but he definitely is an option if you can afford the potential ERA and whip risk. Let's do one more, because of the Arrigetti incident here. Let's talk about Shane Baz. And if you're an avid fan, you're like, Dom, what are we doing? We just bashed Shane Baz, a couple of weeks ago, right? After his mashing for all of August, like the beating that he took all of August, didn't really have much to show there. Even though on August 26th, had a decent outing against Cleveland, 6 innings, 3 earned runs, 7 strikeouts. Wasn't so bad. But the other 4 outings in August before that were just absolutely atrocious. So it wasn't really too much to gain, right? But then, when his last start against Seattle, 6 strong for Shane Baz, 6 strikeouts, no earned runs, a 1.17 whip. And he goes back against Cleveland on Saturday, man. And I mean, Cleveland really, besides Jose Ramirez, that team's not really hitting. So I really think that Shane Baz could go out there and be useful, even if it is another 3 earned runs, 6 innings, 7 strikeout effort. That's still useful. That's still going to be useful. Baz is 43% owned on Yahoo, And once again, you get an extra day. So if you don't think you can afford it, and Boz is going to be an even better strikeout, potential than Jose Soriano, potentially even better than Ian Seymour. 150 innings on the year, 156 strikeouts for Boz. But the 5 ERA and the 1.34 WHIP leave a lot to be desired. I will be honest with you. But I am encouraged by his last 2 starts. I don't know. Maybe Shane Baz can make some adjustments in this offseason and he'll be useful next year. But I'd at least throw him out there for this next start against Cleveland, right? But, guys, with that being said, before we move into, a couple more arms and then we do the bats, Trent Grisham, Romy Gonzalez, those names and more coming up next. And all right, guys, I want to talk to you about my friends over at 5 Hour Energy, right? Listen, it's time to fuel it up and turn it up with 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. This grape, ginger, and lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost, perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Whether you're out on the course or just need a little extra push to power through the day, 5 Hour Energy Transfusion delivers clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. The grape, ginger, lime flavor of 5 Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best of your clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or having to chase down that bev car, because we all know how annoying that could be, right? Now you can amp up the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for any golf tournament in the USA. Tee up that trip. Visit 5-h-e-win.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary, and this offer excludes the Masters Tournament, and it ends October 31st, 2025. And all right, guys, just one more quick thing here from us to you. We have an important request, right? Locked On wants to hear from you. We put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcasts even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes a survey will be entered for a chance to win one of our 10 $100 Amazon gift cards we're giving away. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can also find a link in the show notes. Guys, thanks for helping us out. And listen, just once again, if you want that little edge that's going to help you win your fantasy baseball league and you want to have some fun with us, heading into the offseason, join Matt and I on the Insiders Track, where it's going to be a little, secret edge to your fantasy baseball, team. So check us out, Insiders Track. Link is it's in the bio wherever you're listening, watching, and it's available on any of our social media platforms. And one more picture for you guys. Let's move into it. Let's talk about Erod Eduardo Rodriguez. It's a tough time of year, man. There's not a lot out there left on the waiver wire. We're kind of scrapping around, and this is, I still want to get you deeper league guys, at least a little something. So Erod is at 11% owned on Yahoo, so he's widely available. He gets that little revenge game against his former team, the Boston Red Sox. That's going to be on Friday. And Erod was good his last time out against the Dodgers. And listen, we're going game to game, start to start with, especially pitchers, matchup based this time of year. Listen, Roman Anthony just hit the IL. So I do. If you did lose Roman Anthony, don't worry, I got outfielders for you coming up next. But that Boston lineup's looking a little bit worse. As we move forward here. So I think Erod, that's a little bit more of a manageable matchup than was before Anthony went down. And listen, the whip might not be great, might give up a couple earned runs, but I think there's an opportunity for Erod, strike out 5-6 Red Sox over, 5-6 innings, walk away with a win, and potentially a quality start as well. So I would say Erod is somebody that I would consider on the pitching side of things, especially in those deeper leagues where you might not have another way to look. And I know the numbers have been abysmal for, Erod on the year. He's probably, at the end of the rope here. But I still think, he can go out there. He's going to be motivated to at least put up a decent start against his former team. If you're an athlete of any sort, you go out there, you've played your former team, that gives you a little bit of an extra reason to, play better, show your old team what they're missing out on. Even though it might not be much here in Erod's case, I think he still go out there and there's a chance you get a quality start from Erod on Friday. So let's get into the bats, guys. Let's do it. Got a lot of good names for you. Let's start with an outfielder. I told you I got outfielders. Trent Grisham. The Yankees have been playing pretty well of late. Trent Grisham, has been a part of that. He's been hitting leadoff, for the most part. There has been a couple of games where, he's moved to fifth or sixth, but for the most part, Grisham's been leading off. Numbers on the year, not so bad at all. 121 games played for Grisham, 248 batting average, 73 runs, 29 homers, 61 RBIs, and 3 steals. The power has been there, especially of late. 2 for 4 with a homer for Grisham on September 2nd, 4 RBIs in that one. He homered in 3 consecutive games from August 27th to August 29th, and on that August 29th game, Grisham went 1 for 4 with a home run, 2 runs, 4 RBIs, and a steal. So the bat's been just hot lately for Grisham. If you need power, if you need RBIs, you need runs. The batting average 250 isn't even killing you. So, 51% owned, I believe in what Trent Grisham's doing. Not much, better lineup right now in baseball than, the Yankees and what they've been doing on all the hot bats over there. And it's believable. Grisham, has got that power stroke. It's a lot of power in that bat, which has, been real on the year. So I believe in that. And then even to expecting batting average is better at a 266. So there's room for Grisham to even keep riding this, hot wave that he's been riding over, the past month. I want to say almost the past 2 weeks, but does it extend that for now? So let's just do the past 2 weeks for Grisham, right? Past 2 weeks, he 47 at bats, 12 runs, 8 homers, 15 RBIs, 2 steals, and a 277 batting average to boot for Trent Grisham. Honestly, probably my favorite bat that we're talking about if you lost out on a Roman Anthony. Trent Grisham, once again, 51% owned. He's up 12% over the last couple of days, though. So if he's out there in your league, I'd go out there and snag him for this, little playoff stretch, you either have coming up or that you're in the midst of. Let's just talk about opponents. He's in the stadium, man. Grisham's in the stadium from September 5th to September 11th. After that, he's at Boston. That's a good park. After that, they're at Minnesota, which the Pablo Lopez comes back. But other than that, their rotation isn't much to, Grisham can go out there and take advantage of those guys pretty much. But let's go from New York to Boston. We talked about Roman Anthony being out, so that means there's going to be some more playing time for Romy Gonzalez. Who is the Swiss Army knife, and even though he probably won't be playing outfield, they might have to move and shift guys around, and it's just going to make that room for Romy Gonzalez to be out there more consistently, right? So Romy Gonzalez having a great year through 78 games played on the season. He has a 299 batting average with 38 runs, 8 homers, 44 RBIs, and 5 steals. Romy Gonzalez only 10% owned on Yahoo. He's eligible at first, second, third, and shortstop. You love that Swiss Army knife eligibility, and you can kind of just plug and play him almost anywhere. He's been solid over the past 2 weeks, but we could even just trim it down to the past week because that's pretty much where the production's been. 11 for 26 over the last 7 days for Romy Gonzalez, 2 runs, no homers, 5 RBIs, a 423 batting average. So if you want someone that's going to help you in the batting average department, that's going to be pretty much should be playing consistently over the next couple of weeks. I believe in a lot of the underlying stuff. There might even be a little bit of untapped power here with Romy Gonzalez. He is 6 foot 215. So when I look at the underlying stuff, he hits the ball pretty hard, has good exit velocity numbers, barrels it up well, finds that's that bat speed's good, squares up the ball nicely. So like I said, could be could turn on a couple of home runs here. He's been a little bit of a dry spout when it comes to home runs. So I like Romy Gonzalez, to be honest with you. I'd go out there and snag him while you still can, because I think his ownership is gonna fly up a little bit more. Maybe not crazy amount, but at least a little bit. Romy Gonzalez gets the Diamondbacks. Then he's at the Athletics, who are playing in that smaller park. Then he's, at home in Boston against the Yankees. So, a little bit of a favorable matchup here for Romy Gonzalez, at least when you're talking about ballparks. Rotations, might be a little bit of hit or miss, but let's see how things go for Mr. Romy Gonzalez. And guys, before we wrap up today's episode with names like Jeff McNeil, Jared Triolo, those names and more coming up next. And all right, guys, I want to talk to you about my friends over at Game Time. There's nothing like catching a baseball game live. The energy, the crowd, the chance to see your team in person, but, actually getting the tickets, that's where the tough part kicks in. Queues, login screens, surprise fees, it takes all the fun out of it. Me, personally, that's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. Game Time is fast, easy, and backed by the Game Time guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all the fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. Nothing's hidden at all. The app made it super simple. I could even see the exact view from my seat before buying. Fees are included. Know your total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. And listen, I love their zone deals too. With that, you're just going to pick the section and Game Time picks the seats, and you save big. Honestly, it's faster, cheaper, and less stressful than any other way I've ever bought tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's the promo code LOCKEDOMMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. And all right, guys, I mentioned them. Let's talk about Jeff McNeil, right? Those Mets, another one of the hottest teams in baseball at the moment. And McNeil has been a key player in, what they've been doing. I know we talked about McNeil recently, but he has a very good track record. We know who McNeil is. A little, he's got that, batting average, that he can, get done, a little bit of pop in the bat. The runs and the RBIs have been good of late, so I think we kind of just ride the hot hand. It's second in outfield eligibility for McNeil. Over the last week, 4 runs, no homers, 3 RBIs, a steal, 348 batting average. If you even go back to the last 2 weeks, he's got 2 homers, 12 RBIs, 295 batting average. So McNeil's been getting it done. He's only 19% owned on Yahoo. I'm actually very surprised about that one. On September 2nd, McNeil went 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs, a steal, and a run. 2 for 4 on September 1st with 2 runs. 2 for 4 on August 31st with a run. We got to ride the hot hand, guys. It's this time of year where we kind of might get too caught up on holding to players that are underperforming. And, I know Matt did the drop episode yesterday. So if you might know, he did a lot of big names. I'll be honest with you. He talked Mike Trout. He talked Dylan Cease. He talked O'Neill Cruz. He talked Teoscar Hernandez. And in redraft leagues, nobody's beyond a drop unless you're, like Bobby Witt or Shohei Ohtani or just one of the Paul Skeens, just some of the biggest names in baseball. I mean, even a guy like Mike Trout who's hurt, underperforming, get rid of him and grab the Jeff McNeils. I think that's one thing for me personally that's helped me grow a lot in fantasy baseball is just in redraft leagues. I'm just not tied to, anybody specifically, unless they're my best player, top 2-3 picks. Other than that, man, you can kind of let your guys fly and just ride these hot hands and not be afraid. Even if you say, I've never heard of Romy Gonzalez, I'm not picking him up. That's not the right attitude to have this time of year. Just because it's going to put you in a bad spot when Romy Gonzalez has 2 good weeks in a row and you're riding on Mike Trout out there who's hurt and not underperforming. And it just would have been that simple move that, could potentially put you over the top. So, a guy, Jeff McNeil, has a track record. We know who he is, has good numbers on the year, even been hitting better of late, even had a 2 home run game on August 23rd, which is not that long ago. I'd go out there and grab Jeff McNeil where I need the second base help, outfield help, batting average, RBIs, a little bit of pop. That's what's been going on with McNeil for late. Let's move on to Jared Triolo, younger player here. Haven't talked about him I don't know. I think Matt might have talked about him a week or two ago. I don't think I've had the opportunity to, but let's do it now. Triolo has been, ebbs and flows, right? I know we talk about picking up and dropping guys, very quickly this time of year, but Triolo had a nice little stretch when, you talk about August, right? Very, very good August here for Triolo. Kind of slowed down a little bit. I kind of want to say from like August 27th to the 31st, but he's picking it up again. He had a really good game on September 2nd, 2 for 4, 2 runs, 2 RBIs, a steal, 1 for 3 on August 30th with 3 runs isn't a bad game. So let's even do the last 30 days so we could talk about what, Triolo's been doing, as far as August goes. 15 runs, 2 homers, 9 RBIs, 5 steals, 337 batting average. Triolo is eligible at first, second, third, and short. And listen, he had a little bit of minor league track record, a little bit of minor league buzz. So it's worth the ad. It's worth the ad where, you got a guy that's the Swiss Army knife, kind of going to be a plug and play guy. He's really fast, 83rd percentile in sprint speed. So, those 5 steals on the month are legitimate. Can hit a home run every once in a while too. Not like major pop, but a guy could smack one over the wall. Got the 5 home runs in 84 games, like a 15 homer kind of pace dude. So and he's been leading off. He's been leading off, pretty consistently since it looks like August 26th for this Pirates team. So the Pirates believe in him, and I know it's not a great team, but there's great opportunity there for Triolo. And he's a young player. I'd go out there and snag him. And once again, nice little Swiss Army knife kind of guy, like a Romy Gonzalez, right? Let's keep things pushing and let's talk about some Austin Hayes, right? Austin Hayes of those Cincinnati Reds, outfielder. Once again, if you lost to Roman Anthony, possible replacement here. 10% owned on Yahoo. He's been hitting cleanup, since August 31st. Been showing off a good month here. Looks like he had a pretty strong August. Let's do the last 30 days. The batting average hasn't been great at 239, but it's 12 runs, 3 homers, 17 RBIs, 2 steals, not too shabby for 92 at-bats. Last 14 days, Hayes has it up to a 289 batting average with 3 of those homers and 2 of those steals coming over that time. Also 12 of those RBIs. So Hayes has been hot of late, clean up in that Reds lineup with Ellie and, them boys over there. Noelvi Marte's been playing good of late as well. So he's got some guys to drive in. And I like the cleanup spot, man. Great American Small Park, and they're home. They're home in the next matchup with their next series with the Mets. Let's see after that, because if they're home, man, it makes it even more enticing. No, it's 3 games against the Mets, and then they're away for a little bit. It's at San Diego, at the Athletics, and at St. Louis. But you know what, man? Not a lot of great starting pitching between all 3 of those teams. And then the Athletics as well playing that small stadium right at the moment. So Austin Hayes, while he's hitting, man, go out there and snag him. And listen, before I wrap things up, once again, we'll talk a little bit more about just the fantasy baseball playoffs. And guys, it's a time of year when you want to win. In redraft, dynasty, in redraft leagues, we kind of already covered this strategy there, where it's going to be you don't want to really be too attached to anybody. You kind of want to be fluent as far as making your moves. You want to have the hot hand in your lineup and kind of just be just looking at the matchups, really caring about who, what bats are facing what arms. You don't really want to get too crafty with starting pitching this time of year, in the sense of, one of my better pitchers is going up against, the Yankees tonight in Yankee Stadium. I'm playing Paul Skeens against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium. I'm playing top 20, top 30, top 40 pitchers, against their matchups, because this isn't the time of year you take those risks. It's, let's say you have an 8-man starting pitching rotation. Maybe it's that 8th guy, that 8th, 7th guy you want to maybe not consider playing, but everybody else, you kind of just want to get them out there. You want to do what you need to do. When it comes to dynasty, keeper leagues, it's a little bit more tricky. Especially in dynasty, you really want to hold on to a lot of those younger players, see how they develop, that kind of thing. I'm not really burning and turning too much. I'm still definitely paying attention to all matchups. I'm starting and sitting my hitters in daily leagues accordingly. I'm doing that batter versus pitcher data every day. And that's how you really lock in and you win these fantasy baseball championships. It's tough, when, I know everyone's focused on football. So if you do want to focus more on football and you wanted a little bit easier time, join Matt and I in the Insider Track, where we're going to send you text message alerts. You can just kind of ask us questions. We're going to tell you how to prioritize these guys when you're picking them up. And then even as we head into the offseason, we have a lot more fun stuff planned, on the Insider Track for this offseason. So you know what? You just join us. Link is in the bio if you're listening or watching. It's going to be a fun time over there. But guys, that is all for today. Thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball. Shout out to our everydayers and listeners for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen each and every day. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. But guys, once again, thanks for listening, and until next time. See ya.